Stand by to launch FanStream Sports.
3, 2, 1. Let's start.
Hello, sports fans. Welcome to FanStream Sports. Nothing but pure sports. This is the JP Show.
JP, it is so good to hear you back on the air.
Stand by. Now, here's JP.
All right, welcome into a training camp live edition of the JP Peterson Show here on this Wednesday. The Bucs are out there at practice, about 200 yards from where I'm sitting right now as we sit here in the Advent Health Training Center. Just got done watching about an hour and 20 minutes of practice this morning, and much to report to you guys, so we got that coming up for you. We've got college football, ACC Media Days going on. We'll have some thoughts from Florida State and an absolutely ridiculous thought from Mario Cristobal from Miami. We got a Rays win to talk about. Very exciting as they'll get started here in the afternoon for an afternoon game with the Marlins in game 2 of that series. They get the big win last night, but may have lost Yandy Diaz for a while. Their catalyst, the only consistent offensive player they've had in the past 2 to 3 weeks. That could be trouble, but they did get a win. And Alex Golish also had a little zinger at the AAC Media Day. So all that stuff and more coming up here on the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by the Jeeves Law Group, JEEVES lawgroup.com, and Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com in our first hour. Good morning to you, Nick Geddes from On3 Sports, back in our beautiful RHS TV studios in St. Petersburg. How are you, sir?
I am doing fantastic. All is right with the world here on a Wednesday. I'm scrolling through Twitter as I got into the studio this morning, and I'm seeing clips of Buccaneers practice. You're at Buccaneers practice.
Yes.
All is right in the world. It's football season. We are almost there. We are inching the 6 weeks of hell that we just had to endure with no football to talk about whatsoever. We have finally made it, my friend, and I'm so excited.
And a big thanks to the Bucs for providing this the interview room for us here today. We'll hopefully be able to hunker down here each and every day. Either way, I'll be out here at practice, and we'll be reporting back to you. And you know what? You're absolutely – it's so good to be out here. You know, since, 1997, my first year covering the Buccaneers for Channel 44 out at University of Tampa, which was – it seems like eons ago when these guys were stuffed in – these little dorm rooms, if you can believe it or not, over at the University of Tampa. And I'd go out. I remember going out and doing stories on, offensive tackles whose feet fell about this far over the bed. They were like 6-foot beds, dorm beds for college kids. They'd eat in the cafeteria over there right by the water, and then they'd be out there at Pepin Root Stadium. And then they went to Disney for a while, which was sweet. Disney was a great setup. They had us at the Celebration Hotel. Guys were loving it. That was a fantastic setup over there. And then they built this building and came over here, where they've had training camp ever since. No fans today. No fans the first 3 days of practice. Which is nice for covering. That sucks for the fans.
It does, but I was going to point out, I think there's like 10 days that are open for fans, and I'm still why are we still doing this thing where I think 9 of the practices are exclusively for season ticket members, and we only got 1 for the public? Ugh.
You know me, I'm a man of the people.
Right.
And they did open it up this year. Last year was exclusively for crew members. This year they've opened it up for other folks. And listen, I'm not going to bitch about this because, to buy an upper deck ticket to be part of a season ticket is less than $1,000. At least I'm not sure if it's still there, but it's pretty close to that. You want to be a fan of a team and you can't spend $1,000. That's for 2 tickets, I believe. At least that's what it was. Membership has its privileges, and they're serving their fans, the people that choose to invest in the team. If it was $50,000 and that was the only way you get in, or $25,000 or 10 or even 5. I'd have a problem with it. But, if you want to be a part of the team, and this is what they do to reward their fans that want to be part of the crew. So I'm not going to beat the Bucs up for that. I think that's a fair price.
Hey, I spent more than half of the $1,000 that you mentioned yesterday on concert tickets. So
exactly.
Maybe I'm part of the problem there.
So what are your priorities? If you want to make the Bucs a priority, they are here to make you a priority.
Well,
I think that's okay.
I hate to break it to the Bucs, but seeing 8 or 9 games live this season, when I have a better seat at home on the couch, to be honest, did not take priority over me getting to see King George at Raymond James Stadium next Saturday. That took precedent And I
Oh, there
think
you
there's
go.
a good reason for that. My priorities are in line. Thank
Well,
you.
there you go. Well, that's fine, but don't bitch about not being able to come out here, right? That's fair. If you want to go spend the money on going seeing George Strait, and I listen, I will wholeheartedly endorse that. But don't bitch and moan about not being able to come out here every day that it's available. So, and I would say the people that have paid the money and paid the freight like it very much, that the perks that they get. So I'm okay with this one. I'm all right with this one.
Well,
But no fans today.
good
And
thing I have friends who have those season
there
tickets.
you
So
go.
I always finagle my way in there somehow.
Exactly. It's not that prohibitive to get. If you really want to get here, get here. Don't bitch about it. That's where I'm at on this. All right, so let's get to some of today's highlights. And look, and everybody, we'll talk about Devin White. Devin White is here. He is practicing. That's great news. I'll be honest with you, I didn't think he was going to practice today, and I'm not sure, going forward how that's going to look when they get into pads. But the good news is he's here. He's practicing, and that's all that matters. And so to me, it shows that there has been some change of heart. And I'm sure when he got here yesterday, his teammates are talking to him and hopefully talking some sense into him and saying, hey, man, we get it. I know you aspire to be that guy, and that's obviously where we want our guys. You want them to be aspirational, to be the highest paid player. But, that the way this game works is you go out and bust your ass and earn it. And, there's a lot of guys that weren't drafted where he was drafted. You look at some of these lower level draft, the Austin Ecklers of the world and some of these lower level running backs who are making, $600,000 a year, getting their ass kicked and leading their team in rushing. You get that are solely, those guys really have something to bitch about. But when you're making $11.7 million, I'm sorry. We've talked about this ad nauseum. I think he's overplaying his hand, but he's here and he's practicing. So
Right.
That's the good news. That's all that matters.
As far as I know, I'm hoping the issues are in the rearview mirror since he's at practice and we can kind of bury this whole thing.
Right.
He put something on his Instagram story yesterday about, all that noise and whatever it was. So hopefully that's his final act.
Did you read those motivational quotes?
I honestly, I saw them come across my feed yesterday, and
I was inspired by them.
You were inspired?
Yeah, I think I might even read
Well,
one.
maybe
here.
you go ahead and read them because
they're
I
off his
be
story
honest.
now. Oh, they're off.
They're gone.
Now. Yeah, I think Rick had them in his story on the Times. If you want to grab them and read them, so I thought they were very, very something to the fact of some people brought me flowers, some people poured dirt on me, but either way, it's a garden and I'm growing. I mean,
yes, that was about it. Yeah,
I love that was wonderful, Devin.
Yeah,
Did he write that?
No. And then he cited the what was it? Whoever Corey Taboom, whoever that is. He put a nice little inspirational quote from there as well.
Well-known philosopher from the Greek period, I believe.
Sure, well known. You have your definition of well known. I have mine.
He was a compatriot of Plato, I believe.
Okay.
Well,
again,
Socrates.
Again,
what's his name? Kaboom.
Again, Kaboom. Again, you're talking to the person that still doesn't have no idea who Oppenheimer is. So I'm probably not the best to ask about.
Saw that last night. I have a film review, by the way, today. I forgot to tease that. Yes.
Oh, great. But no, my point though, I hope that's the final act of the Instagram stories, and we get to work.
Let's go. He's here, and that's good news. So it's not a distraction. That's the best news of the day. Now, we didn't get a lot of 11-on-11 work, and they're not in pads. Couple of observations. I'm watching the offensive lineman, and Coach Gilbert, by the way, is such a great offensive line coach. He's the prototypical F word. Every third word has to be an F word. Like that's in the offensive line coach manifest. You have to do that. And he's like, effing this. You got to get this effing guy and that effing guy. And this is fantastic. I love it. He was working with Gedeke and Mock working together. Mock's very athletic. I love the way he moves, and he's very quick. Gedeke, he's pretty athletic as well. But there's still something about Gedeke. I don't see it. He's not a big guy. He's not super athletic. His arms aren't that long. He looks like just a guy. I hope he's better than that. And this means nothing. He's not hitting anybody, right? But it just, I watched Tristan Wirfs, and I know this is a different category. Tristan Wirfs is the creme de la creme. And by the way, looks very natural dropping from the left side. They were doing some pass rush drills. They don't have pads on, but they're still moving, and they're moving at a high speed. He's just so natural. He's such a natural athlete, and he's so effing big, man. His trunk, like his bottom side is just like, it's just massive, but he moves like a ballerina. Even in where I'm 10 yards away, 15 yards away from him, and that's poetry in motion, brother, and it's big poetry. It's fun to watch, and Gedeke just doesn't, I don't know. I hope he's the answer. We'll see.
I was going to say, it's funny you brought that up because I saw a picture of those two. I think it might have been Scott Reynolds who put it out on Twitter, and it was like your right side of your Bucs offensive line, Cody Mauch and Luke Gedeke. And it's like, I've spent so much time talking about giving you the reasons of why the Buccaneers are going to be a better team than everybody thinks. And I've gone over the talent on this roster. And not to say I was ignoring it, but I was reminded today that the right side of the offensive line is no longer Shaq Mason and Tristan Wirfs. It is now Cody Mauch and Luke Gedeke. And if you're looking for something on this roster that gives you pause a little bit and what could be their undoing, and we've seen that over and over in the history of this team, offensive lines can be an undoing to the Buccaneers. That's going to be it. Because, again, Cody Mauch, I'm expecting there's going to be a lot of growing pains there coming from a small school if he's the guy that wins that battle there at the right guard position. If he beats out, if Hainsey's in that competition, I feel like Hainsey's a better player than him based on because I saw that last year him play.
I agree.
Thought he was really good. But if it's Mauch and Gedeke, that's going to give me a little bit of a pause because I know there's going to be significant growing pains for that duo. And once again, Shaq Mason is a loss to this team that we haven't really talked a lot about this offseason, but I think it's a big one.
I would be much more confident in seeing Nick Leverett and Hainsey at right tackle. I don't know. I know they want Hainsey to be in the interior because he's the backup center, and Leverett was his backup center as well. But I just, Hainsey played right tackle at Notre Dame and was really, really good. He looks like he's bigger. He's more stout than Gedeke, maybe not as athletic, but he's played an entire season in the trenches. And Nick Leverett played half the season. I would be much more confident with Leverett and Hainsey than I am looking at Mauch and Gedeke. That's just, listen, the coaches know a hell of a lot more than I do, but I'm with you. When I see that, I go, whew, let's see how it works out. I would circle that as a trouble spot as well. My man Devin Tompkins made it every time he touches the ball. Nick Geddes, he's doing something. They gave it to him on a jet sweep, and he's around the corner so fast. A couple other guys ran jet sweeps and weren't as successful. And I'll tell you this. Well, let me just stay on Tompkins because I'll go all over the place with everybody I saw today. Tompkins just makes plays. I know I have a soft spot in my heart for him, but he stands out. He made a couple of moves on the sideline today on just a quick out and was down the sideline. He's just explosive. He's super explosive. First play of 11 on 11, you saw the Canales offense in full flow, baby. A little stretch play, bootleg, Baker looking right and then coming back on the backside. It's a basic play. I'm not giving away any strategies here. We see it all the time, but it's the way they executed the play. And K. Dotton's down the sideline for a touchdown. That's the Canales offense. That's the Rams offense, and scheming guys open. There wasn't anybody within 20 yards of them.
Well, I was going to say it's a basic play, yes, but it's one that we haven't seen these Buccaneers execute in a long, long time. So I think that's why it's pretty notable. You said the word bootleg, and I'm seeing all these other. We got quarterbacks who are legitimately doing drills, specifically working on mobility, right? Yeah. And that's what has to give you optimism when you look at it from the other side of the coin of this offense is these modern concepts that, 95% of the league is using that the Bucs have not used the past 3 years. And there were reasons for that. And you're going to get it. And I think it's going to help mitigate whoever the quarterback is. It's going to help them out. And hopefully you get good production from there. But yes, seeing the bootlegs, the waggles, all these things is definitely a welcome sight to this Buccaneers fan, at least. And I have to think for everybody else watching as well.
Jeremy Lowe putting in the comments that Bowles is speaking now. So don't worry, guys. We're going to give you the full Bowles press conference here in a little bit. So you don't have to change the channel. We'll give you all the great commentary now, and then we'll do bowls here in a little bit. So yeah, that was the first play, and then Keyshawn Vaughn ripped off a nice run. He ripped off a nice run up the middle, little trap block, bursted through the hole, and then the defense kind of settled in a little bit. And I don't think the Bucs running game got a yard the rest of the day. It was stout. Shaq Barrett wearing number 7 out here, looking good, moving around really, really well.
Very slimming the number 7.
Yeah, very, very slimming number 7. He looks slimmer than the old guy that used to wear 7.
Oh my! He looked like he was moving better than the old number 7 too.
Well, he's definitely lighter than the old number 7. There's no question about that. Leonard Fournette, we love you, brother.
Oh goodness, man!
You're the
Look
best.
at us being naughty already, man.
I hope the car stopped burning. The engine was overworked. No, I'm glad. Who's he playing for, by the way? Fournette.
Wait, didn't he visit the Patriots the other day?
I think he may have, yeah. And Tom Brady didn't get mad about it. Yeah, so the run game, it popped a couple there, here and there. Kyle Trask had a laser beam on his first snap with the ones. He found Godwin over the middle on a deep end. Beautiful throw. I mean, with velocity and accuracy between about 4 defenders, right in the breadbasket of Chris Godwin. Gorgeous throw by Kyle Trask. He's not going away. And I'll say, Baker, it feels like it's Baker's team. I'm watching all the language out there, and it feels like it's kind of Baker's team. He's taking the number 1 reps to start. Then Trask will come in. Maybe they'll flip that around tomorrow. But he's gathering people up. He's talking to them on the sidelines. He's talking to them, behind, constantly moving and grooving. It just kind of feels that way. But you know what? We'll see.
And that's why I brought up to you before the show began the photo the Bucs put out on their social media this morning, and it was like that feeling when the Bucs are back. And it's Mike Evans and Baker Mayfield walking together, and they're got big smiles on their faces. The helmets are on. There's a coach in the middle. I think it might have been Idzik, I want to say. And then Kyle Trask is just in the background, like in between Baker. It's like it was made for this. But Trask is right there in the background in the middle of Baker and Mike, and he's got his helmet off. He looks disheveled. He's got this look on his face like, oh, man, I want to be in the club too. And that's exactly what it comes off as. So that was the one they put on social media. And if you go read the comments, that's what everybody's looking at is the fact that Trask, it's like so poetic, that picture, and indicative of the perception, I guess, of this quarterback competition.
You guys, I mean, it's just he can't get a break, Trask. Something just tells me that he's going to get a shot at some point this year. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that he's going to be an All-Pro and the comeback player of the year, but I just want to see him get a shot. There's something, if Baker sprains an ankle, I love to see Baker, I don't think either one of these quarterbacks are going to light it up, but they don't need to. The way Todd Bowles is going to want to win games this year is 24-10, right? Mm-hmm. 21-14, 17-14. That's the way he's, this is a very much a Dungy mentality where we're gonna play really, really good defense. We might bend a little, but we're not breaking. You can have a field goal every now and then, but you're not scoring in the red zone. We're gonna play physical. We're gonna get after you. We're gonna cause turnovers, and then we're not gonna take a ton of chances on offense, but we're gonna scheme guys open and move the ball and keep our guys on our defense on the bench and just win games that way. I think that's the way he wants to do it. We'll see if that philosophy works with this roster. I think that's your best bet. I think this roster is built for that type of football. I don't think it's a super explosive offense. I think it might be able to get some big plays here and there, but you can win this way in the NFL.
Well, for the first time, when it relates to the quarterback competition, I think you're going to see a good look and a good sample size of the first team offense out there, I'd have to think, during preseason. Because I think, especially with Kyle Trask's case, I need to see him get those live reps on the field. I know it's preseason and it's probably 70% or whatever of what a real NFL game is, but I need to see those reps, those live reps with the first team guys. I need to see him doing that every single day with the ones in training camp. And I guess that's my question. You might have addressed it. Is it look like it's a true 50-50 split with the ones between Baker and Kyle?
As much as I charted them today, it looked like a pretty much a 50-50 split. Like, I think Baker took the first 2 plays, then Trask took the next 2 plays. and they kind of switched off like that. Wolford was in there a little bit. There's a lot of the backup running backs were getting touches for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Rashad White had a nice cutback run, and I love the way that guy glides, man. He just glides. It's just kind of a different feel watching him as opposed to some of the other running backs.
And if I'm not mistaken on some other things that I noticed from some videos and photos out there, Ryan Jensen, I heard he was taking snaps from John Wolford. So is it look like he's not up to speed yet from the knee injury?
No, he's got braces on both knees. It looks like he's fully up to speed. Russell Gage is the only one out there that wasn't practicing, and it looked like he was limping. I don't know if he was just walking a weird way, but I was talking to some of the other beat writers, and I'm like, well, he looks like he's severely limping. And then he walked over when he was kind of joking around with friends and kind of moving around a little bit better. So I don't want to speculate, but he doesn't look like he's close. And boy, I've seen that guy in sweatpants more than I've seen him in a uniform. So I don't know how much you can count on him, but it looks like he's in great shape, though. It looks like he's in fantastic shape, and hopefully he'll be able to get out there. What else did I see today? Logan Hall, he looks noticeably bigger. There was one jet sweep where he beat his man, jumped up and stopped it cold, setting the edge, which we talked about last year was a big weakness of this Bucs running game. They're going to count on him to be bigger and maybe do a little bit more of that. So I like Joe Tryon looks bigger. He shined a little bit today, made a couple of plays. Looks big and fast. He looks big and fast and much more intimidating than I remember. I remember watching him last year in training camp going, he's just not an intimidating guy. He's not a force. Totally different look about him this year. Totally different look about him. He looks big. Bigger in the bottom, bigger upstairs, not as lean. I like his look.
And I took note of it yesterday during Jason Licht's press conference. We didn't play that soundbite or really talk much about it, but he had a quote. I thought Jason kind of gave a pretty illuminating answer where he was like, he's flashed. He used the word flashed, right?
Yeah.
Which that word to me sometimes could be a curse when it comes to first round picks. He's flashed potential that shows why we took him in the first round, but they know that he has to be better and he has to execute better and he has to get home and get more sacks because 4 sacks last year and 23 tackles. Yeah. He was just pretty much an ineffective player for majority of the season, if we're being honest. Joe Tryon Chewinka, that is. So the fact that Jason Licht, I thought maybe called him out a little bit yesterday, not too intense or anything, but just enough maybe to get the point across. And, you saw it today. He's transformed his body, it seems like, in the offseason. So hopefully the message hits home because the Bucs, that's another thing they struggled with last year on defense that didn't help the secondary. He just couldn't get a 4-man rush.
Right.
Most likely,
zero pressure.
Majority of the games, they couldn't get any pressure on a 4-man rush. And part of that has to do with Joe Tryon Chewinka. So that's a good developments that he looks like he's transformed his body. And as we mentioned earlier, Shaq Barrett looks like he's moving really good for a guy coming off an Achilles. And the fact that he's even here, I mean, didn't we? Yeah. We were all expecting him to be on the PUP list.
Yeah.
I feel like coming into camp. And the fact that he's out there and he's turning, like he's doing some pretty intense, like I don't know, go back to last offseason because Godwin was coming off the same injury. I don't recall Godwin, at least on the first day of camp, doing this kind of intense movement that I saw from Shaq Barrett today in some of these clips.
Yeah. He to me looked really good. I was not expecting him to look that good and that fast and that quick. Maybe it is the number 7, but I thought that was one of the real pleasant surprise. A couple other plays just to make note of. Payne Durham had a beautiful route that he ran down, a deep seam route right down the middle, and Kyle Trask hit him right in the hands. And Nolan Turner, who Bowles talked about yesterday, being a guy they expect to step up in year 2, safety from Clemson, stepped up and made it. I don't know if he knocked it away or Payne dropped it. It's one of those things, they're not in pads. There would have been a collision there. So I don't, you don't know how that thing paid out, but Payne Durham had a chance to make a big play. He either dropped it or Nolan Turner made the play. What other notes I made here? Trask, really nice quick out to Godwin. Trask gets that ball out quick. And he looks the part of a big passer. People talk about him not having the strongest of arms. I don't see that. I see a very strong arm quarterback, good velocity, good accuracy. from what I saw today, he looks different on his feet. He's lighter on his feet. He looks better. He's got a really good, 6'5" drop back passer. There've always been comparisons to Big Ben. I think his motion is more fluid than Big Ben's. Frankly, I think he's got better mechanics than Big Ben, but he kind of looks the same. What else? I mentioned Tompkins. So Rashad White. Yeah, those are most of the observations I had today. So good day one for the Buccaneers. We'll get to Todd Bowles' comments here in a little bit. Let's go ahead and take a break, and we'll come back and we'll hit the Rays, and we'll get to the Todd Bowles comments as well, because big win for the Rays last night. We got lots of college football to talk about and some fun sound to get you on that. Lots of other things to get to as well. The United States women's team plays tonight, I believe, as well in Game 2. So we'll hit that a little bit. And my Oppenheimer movie review. I think you will be very interested in that as well. Quick break, live from the Advent Health Training Center here at Buccaneers Training Camp. JP Peterson here. We'll be back. Brought to you by the Jeeves Law Group, JEEVESLawgroup.com, and Bay Area Modern Medical Center. Stay with us.
Are you experiencing those feelings of getting older, lower sex drive, fatigue, hot flashes, moodiness, or you just don't feel like you had the vitality you once had? It's a chronic problem here in the United States. You're not just getting old, it's likely low testosterone. Studies over the last 20 years show a shocking decline in younger males aged 16 to 39. Older men have seen a sharp decline as well. So do something about it. Go see my friend Christopher Lugo at Bay Area Modern Medicine. Look, testosterone replacement is not a frivolous treatment. It takes a professional, targeted approach that focuses on total body wellness, vitality, and emotional stability, not a one-size-fits-all approach like many clinics use. They will monitor your blood work and adjust your treatment as needed for optimal results. Folks, I've been on testosterone therapy for over 6 years, and it is a life changer. You will feel and look better than you did 10 years ago. Give them a call at 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. Tell them JP sent you for priority scheduling. That's 844-977-3477 or BAMMC.com. JP here for the Jeeves Law Group. Have you been injured in an accident, in an auto accident, truck accident, motorcycle accident, at work, or at a place of business? Well, call the Jeeves Law Group and get the personal attention that you deserve. I made the mistake many, many years ago with going with one of the bigger law firms, the national law firms. And let me tell you, getting a call back from those folks was next to impossible. Weeks and weeks would go by, never get a call back. That doesn't happen with the Jeeves Law Group. Personal attention is what they're all about. When you call the Jeeves Law Group, you will be part of the family. They will represent you in a vigorous and aggressive way against the insurance companies. These larger companies will promise bigger settlements, but it's the Jeeves Law Group that will get you the best results. If you're tired of dealing with these bigger law firms, check out the Jeeves Law Group. Go to JeevesLawGroup.com, tell them JP sent you, get a free consultation. It's the Jeeves Law Group. Scott Jeeves has been representing clients in the Tampa Bay area for over 25 years. Give them a call. It's a free call, 727-894-2929, 727-894-2929, JeevesLawGroup.com.
During COVID, over 1.7 million people were added to the Florida Medicaid rolls, but as of April 1st, 2023, most of these people may not be eligible for the Medicaid coverage and will lose their health plan. If you have been notified you are losing your coverage, don't freak out. It's very likely you can apply for a federal subsidy under the Affordable Care Act. Just call 877-652-0244. Our representatives will walk you through the whole process, get some basic information on your income, number of kids, and then they'll find a plan that best fits your needs. In fact, with the new laws, 90% of Americans qualify for reduced or free health care. You can select great plans like Florida Blue, that's my carrier, love them, paying $800 left after making the call. 877-652-0244. Our highly trained professionals know all the intricacies of the new laws. They will do all the work. You save tons of money. So if you're being dropped from Medicaid, fear not. Call 877-652-0244. Get real health insurance, free doctor visits, free blood work, no deductibles. 877-652-0244.
Hey, JP here for Extravaganza Productions Incorporated, EPI. You've probably seen their purple logo at so many events that you've gone to. They are based in Tampa, And for over 33 years, they've been creating and producing conferences, meetings, and special events, the biggest to the smallest. Solid reputation of delivering the best audio-visual, sound, lighting, entertainment, video production, and decor on time and on budget. I've worked with them with so many big events. The Warrior Games, which was an Olympic-style event all over Tampa Bay, from McDill to the Convention Center to USF. They did it flawlessly, made it look big and fantastic. I've worked with them on small events as well, large and small meetings and conferences, sporting events, fundraisers. If you got a fundraiser, you don't know the logistical way to pull it off, they'll take care of everything. Entertainment events, branding events, grand openings, so much more. The folks at Extravaganza Productions are the most professional and the best. I've worked with them many times. They are fantastic. You can contact them through extravaganzaproductions.com or call 813-621-4700. Extravaganza Productions, they are awesome.
Coming back at you.
Now, more with JP on FanStream Sports. It's only just begun.
And a line drive base hit through the hole. Margot scores. Lowe's going to score. Over to third goes Bethencourt. Into second, Yandy Diaz. And the Rays grab the lead. It's now 3-0 as Yandy Diaz.
Uh, 4-1, get a much-needed win at home. The Orioles, meanwhile, lost in a walk-off to the Phils last night, so the Rays will pick up a game. What are we, 1.5 back now of the O's? So it's about time to do that scoreboard watching. So each and every night we'll be watching what the O's do in Toronto and everybody else as well in the division. But good night for the Rays last night. Not a ton of offense, just 4 runs, but I believe he got 9 hits. Yandy, of course, gets the big rip right there. Brandon Lau hit a home run. We'll add that to the sound list here if you want to just throw that in anytime here, Nikki, because we knew that was coming as much as we've been bashing this guy.
You know, it's so funny. I guess we're going to have to say something negative about B-Lau every single day on this show.
Well, that's not hard.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
But there's nothing negative to say today, I guess, because yesterday I flat out said that he stunk the last 500 at bats, and those were just based off the actual numbers.
Those are the numbers.
And me saying that I was going to give him a little bit after the All-Star break to get hot here to see if I would have some faith, and I was losing it yesterday. And then he responds by going 3 for 3 in his first 3 at bats, and then hitting an absolute tank, as you said. And I'll cue that one up here. This was his 11th home run, I want to say, for Brandon Lau. And again, this is a sign that hopefully he's heating up and maybe for a little bit. So here was the call from Bally Sports from last night.
With Zach Eflin, he's going to be on the mound tomorrow. So we want to see the interview, and there's a shot on the first pitch. Brandon Lau hits this one a mile, and it's out of here. Brandon Lau unloads on the.
Yeah, there you go. He finally got a hanging breaking ball and deposited that one like he used to do quite frequently. Mm-hmm. Listen, if he can get on a little bit of a hot streak, that would be great, because then maybe the Rays can trade him and get something for him. I've given up on the guy. I don't think he's the long-term answer. And if I were the Rays, and trust me, they're thinking this way because they want to move that salary. They don't want to pay him anymore. Not when they can bring up Aranda for a tenth of the cost and save the money.
It was good to see, though, and I thought, there was a play in that game early with the offense that I think kind of alleviated the pressure a little bit that they were feeling. And it actually started with B-Lau, and it was his first hit of the game where he kind of dropped a blooper over there in the center, and I was like, oh, finally. Like, we got something to go our way, and then Paredes, I think, came up the next hit of the next batter and did kind of the same thing to the right side of the field. And I saw those 2 plays, and I'm like, okay.
There we
that
go.
looked like something that could spark this offense a little bit, because there have been times where they've been hitting the ball really hard, I'll be honest, and sometimes that's just the way baseball goes. They hit it really hard, and it goes to somebody. I mean, last night, the same thing happened to Wander Franco, I thought, twice, who had another 0 for 4 performance at the plate.
Yep.
He had a hard ground ball to second, right to a rise, and he's out. And then he hit one, and he just missed it. He's had a couple of those throughout this slump that he's hit to the warning track, and I thought he hit it out last night, but he just came short. It would have been a home run in 6 ballparks for what that's worth. So hopefully, I thought Wander's at-bats were a little bit better last night.
Yeah.
So they need, like I said yesterday, they need him to come out of that slump. But you mentioned not a ton of offense, but when they get to that magical 4-run number, the Rays are almost unbeatable. If you look at the numbers this year, if they get to 4 runs, they're winning almost majority of their games. So that's really all you need. And when you get the pitching performances that they're continuing to get night in and night out from this starting staff, and yes, the B-Low was great to see last night and all the other things that went on, but the star of the show was Tyler Glasnow, who shoved. And I know you said you were new to that term today, which I can't understand. I can't understand you. That's always been around. He shoved last night.
Never heard it before in my life. Never heard it before.
He's been keeping his pitch count at an efficient level here the last 5-6 starts, and it's allowing him to go deeper into the games. And what was so impressive about him last night, his A pitch, which is that curveball, I don't know if he threw one for a strike yesterday.
No.
He just could not find confidence in that curveball. But what happened? His fastball had life to it, and his slider had really good bite to it. And the Marlins, I thought, were fooled all game. So he goes 7. Of note, saw this last night on the Valley Sports broadcast, since he made his first start on May 27th, and I think we're 12 starts in now, he leads the American League in strikeouts. So he does.
Wow. He got another 8 last night. Damn.
Yeah, 88 strikeouts, I think, since he made his debut on May 27th, leads the American League. And as I said yesterday, he's rounding back into elite form. And when he's at his best like this, I think he's every bit the pitcher that Shane McClanahan is at his best. And you truly have 2 aces in this rotation as long as both can stay healthy. And that has to give you optimism for this team. And why I'm not going to completely throw them away right now is because I will still take those 2 guys in a playoff series over any 2 guys that anybody else is going to trot out there.
Backed up by today's pitcher, Zach Eflin, who's been nothing but a horse all year long. No, the 3 starters are the strength of this team right now. There's no question about it. If they can get back to at least half, they've gone from 6.54 runs per game up to June 30th to 3.4. I mean, that's almost it's a 40% drop. That's dramatic. That is really dramatic. You don't see a swing like that for an extended period of time, which July, almost a month of July. I mean, that's a dramatic drop-off. And as we noted yesterday, it kind of coincides with the Wander suspension and the Wander issues. Make of that what you will. I think it's a factor. Some people can just dismiss it, whatever. Too coincidental for me. But because we rely so much on Wander, and he's batting under 200 since that suspension. So that's no good. So that offense has got to tick up. They've got to get back to at least 4.5 runs a game. As you said, that's the magic number. You shouldn't drop off that dramatically. So, look, they're going to have to go get a bat at the deadline. And we're 5 days away now? 5 days away from the deadline. Yeah, 5-6 days away. They've got to pull the trigger here soon. They've got to pull the trigger here.
Yeah, I think it's going to happen. Whatever level of move that is, I don't know. But I think there's no doubt they're going to add something at the deadline. But
as are these other teams.
As are these other teams as well. It's going to get really active here as we get to the weekend. And of note also, Miami is our bitch. Okay?
Yes, please.
19-2 against the Miami Marlins dating back to 2019. 19-2.
Yes.
Oh, Miami's our bitch. Love to see it.
So we own the Marlins.
We own them for sure. We own the Red Sox. We have real estate in the Red Sox.
Yeah, but let's go south a little bit here. We own the stinking Panthers too.
That's true.
Because the last time we played meaningful games against them, sweep.
Yeah, and when we get to the Stanley Cup, we finish the job.
Thank you.
Or we have finished the job.
Thank you. So I'm trying to think of the last time the Bucs played the Dolphins. In a real game.
Oh, they played them. They played them in 2021, and I believe they beat them like 45-17 or something like that.
I believe it was. Yeah. So Miami, jump aboard the bitch train. All right, let's listen to Kevin Cash about last night's big win over the stinking fish.
Yeah, definitely. It felt good to get the score first.
And you mentioned the run Glasnow's on. What stands out the most? I mean, going deep in games, strikeouts, limiting walks.
Yeah, Definitely going deep in games, and he's getting his strikeouts while being very efficient to allow him to do that. So overall, just strike throwing.
And what's the status of Yandy?
Find out a little bit more tomorrow. He's sore. I think fingers crossed we get some good news. He'll have an image at some point midday. He's in better spirits now than maybe he was right when it happened.
Interesting defense there in the 8th inning. Siri coming in with the catch and Rayleigh sliding.
Yeah. Siri's ready to go. He tells me he's always ready. I don't know if I always believe him, but he was ready. I liked his haircut, too.
Did Rayleigh exceed his number of allotment of Red Bulls before the game?
He plays pretty amped up, man. He plays. It's a football mentality out there that he takes, but easy guy to root for.
Yeah, but Luke, in that first inning, second batter for you guys, that was an 11 pitch at bat. So you're biting into Cabrera's pitch count pretty early right there.
Yeah, look, I don't know what happened to why he came out. If he's hurt, hopefully it's not too bad. But yeah, that at bat was really big. We drove the pitch count up pretty high with 50-something pitches through 2 innings, and Luke played a big role in that for sure.
Your team is 28th in batting average with balls in play in the last 30 days.
Feels like it.
He had 2 soft hits to lead in a big inning.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was saying. It doesn't matter.
Course correction?
That'd be great. Yeah, I think everybody in that room would sign up for that. You want to hit the ball hard. That's a goal. But you'll take some luck and find the soft hits too.
Yes, you will. And they need every hit they can get at this point. No question about it. And yeah, that's we haven't really talked about the Yandy Diaz injury here. And what I tell you what, that was a hell of a play by Brandon Lau last night, coming across second base, throwing across his body to get the runner at first, and then Yandy does this incredible stretch. I don't know how he kept his foot on the bag, but that's where he injured his groin. Now, if Yandy is out for any extended period of time, this struggling offense, woo, bro, that's a scary thought. He goes on a 10-day DL. Where does this offense go? I mean,
I'm hoping it'd be minor. The Yandy, like I've been saying about Jonathan Ronda, if you wanted any shot to see him up here, it was going to take an injury to a Yandy or a Harold Ramirez probably
first base,
to see him. But at the moment, and again, he's going to get the imaging done today, but it doesn't sound like it's going to be something serious. Hopefully he's just day-to-day. Maybe he got the off day today, so that helps. Maybe he misses a game out of this huge Astro series that's coming up this weekend. The streaking Astros, might I add, who beat the Rangers last night, and they're now only a game back of the Rangers in the NL West. So, as I've been saying, I'm not sleeping on the Astros by any means when it comes to this AL race for the pennant. I think they're still an outstanding team, and they're probably going to add at the deadline as well. But the other thing last night that I thought stuck out to me, already mentioned Glasnow, but getting a clean, when was the last time you saw a clean 8th and 9th from Jason Adam and Peter Fairbanks? It's been a while, I feel like.
It's been a while.
I haven't seen it in a bit. Yeah. And last night, I thought both had their best last night against the Marlins. Jason Adam, congratulations, by the way. He's a girl dad of 4 now. So that dad power helped him out yesterday. He's got his hands full, by the way.
He's got 4 girls?
4 girls. He had his 4th girl at 5:30 in the morning, I believe, yesterday.
Woo.
And then goes out and pitches a clean inning in the 8th. Fairbanks came in the 9th. And Fairbanks, when he pitches like that, and the velocity, I feel like with Fairbanks, is up a little bit. Now I'm seeing him kind of hit 101 a little bit.
Yeah,
he seems to be ramping back, and you can see that these hitters, like Soler was crazy late on one of those fastballs to strike him out. The fastball to end the game, obviously, from Garrett Cooper. When he's got that going right there, he is an elite option. I feel like I haven't seen it enough recently. So that was good to see last night, and they're going to need more of it. So all in all, the negative last night, if you want to talk about that, we'll cover both. Thrown out 3 times on the base paths.
Yeah, that can't.
At third base.
Randy Arozarena, what are you doing?
Yeah, and Randy kind of goes in with that when you look at the negatives. I thought he had 4 at-bats last night where I didn't really see much of anything. Yeah. I saw more really long swings.
Yeah.
I heard Matt Joyce talking on the pregame show, talking about the home run derby and how that potentially could be affecting him.
No question.
And I think and again, that was my big concern going into it, because Randy just doesn't look right now at the plate.
No.
It seems like he struck out once looking on a slider. It looks like he was expecting fastball, and when you're in a slump, that just seems how it goes. Expecting fastball, here comes slider. Expecting slider, here comes fastball. That's what's going on with Randy right now. So he's got to get back and shorten that swing up and get back to what made him successful. But all in all, last night, you live with it. it wasn't a super. I didn't really have much confidence the Marlins were ever going to get back into that game because the pitching was so great. So a good night for the Rays and much needed here going into the off day.
Let's cue up the Tyler Glasnow from Last Now. Let's hear him talk. I always love listening to Glasnow talk about anything. He's such an intelligent guy, but especially about his great outings. That's my favorite subject. And his curveball was sharp last night in terms of its break. Sometimes I think his curveball breaks so much that it's almost ridiculously hard to control it in the zone. I mean, he's got that much spin rate on it, and he's dropping it 4 feet in front of the plate. Guys are still swinging at it. That's how good it is. So although he couldn't really dial it for a strike, I still think it was an effective pitch last night in the repertoire. Let's hear Tyler talk about his game last night.
All right, Tyler, a deep start for you, a good start. Looked like your slider and your fastball were key pitches for you. How well were those working, and how'd you feel?
I felt good. I think timing was good. The only thing I had no idea it was my curveball. Like, especially the last inning, it like weirdly felt pretty good. I just think I don't know, just like squeezing it too tight or something. But my fastball and slider, that's probably the best my slider's been in a long time. And then my heater, carry and everything was really good tonight, so I got away with just having the 2 pitches.
Is it extra satisfying that at least it seems recently you've been able to get those strikeouts while still being efficient?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's like the best recipe, I guess. It's definitely nice to just try and like not work like a bunch of balls and strikes and like full counts and whatnot. So as long as I can be efficient and rack up the Ks, that's what I want to do.
What do you think's been the key to that, Tyler, to being efficient while still getting the strikeouts?
I think just kind of getting into a rhythm and like being mechanically like sharp and consistent and stuff. I think the games that I'm not that good, I think it's just like kind of, I don't know, certain pitches just feel like a bit different, or I'm not as like consistent, and I'm trying to like find things in the zone. But today it just felt a lot more like rhythmic and just easier to time up.
Nice to pitch with the lead early on, especially the way the lineup's kind of been surging here lately.
Yeah, it's great. I think just anytime you're out there and you have like a little, not like a cushion, but yeah. I mean, if you're like in line to the team is going to win, it definitely kind of, yeah. I don't know if you pitch any different, but it feels nice for sure. Yeah.
And how much of a boost does like the plays like Lau in the second innings of that?
It's amazing. That always gives me like a nice boost for sure. Just our defense has always been so good. And I think a lot of times when they're off the bat, I'm like, that's a hit or something, or like just a play where there's a lot of time in between, and like we make every one of those plays, and it makes my job a lot easier.
Sorry. First time facing Luis Arraez. It's just 19 games without a hit for him. So what do you think it was the key facing a guy like him?
Just trying to execute pitches, really. I know he's just really good bat-to-ball skills and trying not to like leave anything over the plate. I threw a really good slider to him and was able to get him, and yeah, he's a really good player. But I think just like kind of normal strategy, I guess, and we're just trying to execute. Yeah.
You've been dominant against righties. Is the next step to be a little bit more consistent against lefties?
I'm sure. Yeah, I guess so. Yeah,
you
like
don't pay attention.
No, I think like it's just each hitter is their own. I feel comfortable facing lefties. I actually like the view of a lefty a lot more. I don't know my splits. I haven't really I guess I haven't dissected lefty or righty. I think it's more just about like execution each hitter. But if I am doing better against righties, then yes, I want to do better against lefties.
There's Tyler Glasnow talking about last night's outing. Yeah, it's interesting that sometimes the media does know more than the players do about their advanced analytics, whatever. But all I know is Tyler was fantastic last night, and he's been really, really good. As I've said on this program, I believe he's the linchpin to postseason success. But when I say drop off the table like it has. And again, if they can get it back to 4.5 runs a game with this pitching staff, I still would love to see them add a dominant closer. Josh Hader would be great. And then maybe a bat of some sort, a legitimate bat, not a Peralta, not even I'm trying to think of Nelly Cruz. Not even a Nelly. I'm talking about a big bat, a $20 million, $25 million bat, a big bat that has consistently performed in postseason. I don't know who that is. I don't know who's available. I'm trying to think of the name of the guy with the White Sox that's having such a great year, and I don't even know if he's available. But I just think they need a bopper. They need a bopper, and they need a back end guy.
I've seen the White Sox are like a team that probably, I would have to say everybody's available except for a Luis Robert or a Dylan Cease. And, Lance Lynn, I believe, has been kind of mocked to the Rays a little bit in some of these fantasy trades. But I think I saw yesterday, Lance Lynn, I think, has a 9-team no trade. And I'm almost positive the Rays are on that.
Oh, really?
So Lance Lynn would have to approve that. I'm not 100% sure, but I believe I saw that yesterday. I've heard his name. The other one that's on the White Sox that's available, and quite frankly, I really don't see what the point is here of getting him, but I see a lot of people talking about him, is Tim Anderson, who has been one of the absolute worst players in baseball this season. Like, I'm talking, I don't think he's hit a home run yet this year. The OPS is in the 500s, I think. And his defense has never been his calling card. He's like a negative WAR this year. I'm not sure why I'm not sure why there's a lot of people that are talking about Tim Anderson and where do you put him on the field? Because he's a shortstop and he's not better than Brandon Lau. He's not better. He's not even better than Taylor Walls, quite frankly.
Right.
Because he's not hitting it anymore and he's not good at defense. So respectfully, I'll decline on that. I tell you what, I'm getting to the point where my dream, but I know the bidding is going to be really high for this guy right now, is Cody Bellinger. I've been keeping so much note of what's going on with him in Chicago. The Cubs are probably in a spot where do they want to sell? Because they're kind of in the middle of a playoff race, but kind of not at the same time. But do they want to get rid of Cody Bellinger? He's on a 1-year deal, so he'd be pretty affordable for this season. To me, he might be the comeback player of the year. Yeah. And I know the Yankees are probably going to be sniffing around for a guy like that, which I can't believe. Side note, the Yankees, I can't believe are buying at the deadline. I saw this yesterday too. They're 9-1 against, or 8-1 against the A's and the Royals this year. They're 45-47 against the rest of the league. So the fact that the Yankees are actually going to be buying at the deadline seems absolutely ridiculous to me. But let them do what they want to do. But Cody Bellinger, probably, if I had to put my number one player, my dream is Cody Bellinger right now. But how realistic that is, I probably don't know. I probably can't hardly tell you.
Yeah, I don't think the Cubs, even if they've got a sniff, I don't think they can trade him at this point. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense unless they're blown away by the prospects that they get. They could be thinking, well, look, we're kind of in it, but are we really going to be better than the Braves? Are we really going to be better than the Dodgers? Are we really going to be better? Can we beat these teams? And how do we get on their level? Well, we sell Cody Bellinger and we get 3 really, really good players.
Yeah, and of note, by the way, Bob Nightingale did actually just put this out 8 minutes ago that the Rays are engaged in serious talks for Lance Lynn. Okay. Serious talks. So when you say the word serious, that makes it sound like there's something coming pretty soon here. But he did add, by the way, he confirmed this, that the Rays are one of the 10 teams that are on his no-trade list. But he did inform them that he will waive it for a chance to be with the Rays.
Oh, good. All right. I don't know what pitcher would not want to play for the Rays. That doesn't make any sense at all to me. So we'll see. All right, we'll take a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to get into Todd Bowles' comments from the first day of practice. We're also going to do some college football in our second hour as well. We've got some Alex Golish comments. And by the way, we should speak with the coach on Friday because we're going to be doing our show live from the USF football golf tournament out at TPC, I believe it is. So we'll be live out there, hopefully get the coach on. He had some comments yesterday at AAC, which were kind of interesting. We'll also hear from, not many. That's right. All right, much more coming your way in our second hour. First hour brought to you by the Jeeves Law Group, JEEVES, lawgroup.com, and Bay Area Modern Medical Center. If you want to lose weight or just get your immune system in better order or lean up, it's Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com. Get an appointment right there on the website. Back in 3.
All right, this is for all you guys who don't want to go to the gym and do 5,000 crunches. At Bay Area Modern Medical Center, you can get on the new True Body machine where you can reduce fat and tone up your muscle. It's like doing 54,000 crunches in just 15 minutes. Define your body as you see fit. True Body offers personalized muscle stimulation that delivers the equivalent of those 54,000 crunches in just 15 minutes. Just Get in touch with them at Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com. Chris Lugo and the team over there will set you up on TrueBody and get amazing results. No pain and zero downtime. You can isolate and target those areas that you want to improve and treat multiple areas simultaneously. It's an amazing machine, so check it out at Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com. Well, Fitz the mortgage guy did it again. A listener heard his ad, was going to another big bank, but called Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services of Tampa, and Fitz saved him $618 on his monthly payment. Are you kidding me? Folks, that's big money. Rates are going up, they're going down, they're going all over the place. Scott will shop your loan and save you lender fees and get the best rates. Email him, scott@amstampa.com, or call 813-294-7595. That's Fitz, the mortgage guy. Lots of stuff going on right now, and these rates are going all over the place. You need somebody knowledgeable in the market that will work hard for you and get you the best deal. That's my man, Scott. He's done 3 loans for me, done thousands of loans for local folks here, works with a lot of the coaches and players in the area. He's the guy. 813-294-7595, or go to scott@amstampa.com. Insurance coverage can be confusing and expensive. I mean, where do you start? Which companies can you count on to pay out fast and fair? Well, call the great folks at Italiano Insurance. It's a family-owned business. Jeff and Nat Italiano are carrying on the 60-year-plus tradition of giving amazing customer service and giving back to the community through their annual backpack drive for needy students and their support of the local pediatric cancer patients. But it's the customer service that sets them apart. They can shop all your insurance needs and save you big-time money. Don't hop on the internet and waste time looking at some bogus reviews. Talk to knowledgeable agents and not some voice-generated robot. These are confusing times for homeowners, and Italiano's team of experienced professionals can provide the right coverage for every situation: home, auto, business, life. It's Italiano for all the pieces of your life. Call 813-877-7799 or go to italianoinsurance.com.
During COVID, over 1.7 million people were added to the Florida Medicaid rolls, but as of April 1st, 2023, most of these people may not be eligible for the Medicaid coverage and will lose their health plan. If you have been notified you are losing your coverage, don't freak out. It's very likely you can apply for a federal subsidy under the Affordable Care Act. Just call 877-652-0244. Our representatives will walk you through the whole process, get some basic information on your income, number of kids, and then they'll find a plan that best fits your needs. In fact, with the new laws, 90% of Americans qualify for reduced or free health care. You can select great plans like Florida Blue. That's my carrier. Love them. Paying $800 left after making the call. 877-652-0244. Our highly trained professionals know all the intricacies of the new laws. They will do all the work. You save tons of money. So if you're being dropped from Medicaid, fear not. Call 877-652-0244. Get real health insurance, free doctor visits, free blood work, no deductibles. 877-652-0244.
Hey, JP here for Extravaganza Productions Incorporated, EPI. You've probably seen their purple logo at so many events that you've gone to. They are based in Tampa, and for over 33 years, they've been creating and producing conferences, meetings, and special events, the biggest to the smallest. Solid reputation of delivering the best audio-visual, sound, lighting, entertainment, video production, and decor on time and on budget. I've worked with them with so many big events. The Warrior Games, which was an Olympic-style event all over Tampa Bay, from McDill to the Convention Center to USF. They did it flawlessly, made it look big and fantastic. I've worked with them on small events as well, large and small meetings and conferences, sporting events, fundraisers. If you got a fundraiser, you don't know the logistical way to pull it off, they'll take care of everything. Entertainment events, branding events, grand openings, so much more. The folks at Extravaganza Productions are the most professional and the best. I've worked with them many times. They are fantastic. You can contact them through extravaganzaproductions.com or call 813-621-4700. Extravaganza Productions, they are awesome.
Ladies and gentlemen,
let's rock. This is FanStream Sports with JP.
JP Peterson Show, our second hour here, as we are coming to you live from the Advent Health Training Center here at One Buck Place, where the Bucs just wrapped up their first practice of this training camp season. We're brought to you by the great folks at Italiano Insurance, who just saved me $1,000 on my yearly car premium. because my rates went through the roof, like happened to many of you guys. And they shopped it around for me. And what do you know? They came back with a quote that's going to save me $1,000 this year. So thank you to Italiano Insurance. Thank you to Charity over that air at Italiano Insurance. She stayed till 9:30, maybe 10 o'clock that night to make sure my insurance was done by midnight to make sure I got the deal. So that's what they do over there. They go the extra mile. The customer service is through the roof. They are phenomenal. So give them a call, 813-877-7799. And a human being will answer the phone. How about that? Also brought to you by the Golden Diamond Source in Extravaganza Productions and American Mortgage Service here in our second hour. All right, Todd Bowles gave his first press conference post-practice here today. And let's listen in to what he had to say about today's first workout.
Sharper, and I think the communication was great, so we just have to build from there.
You said during the off-season you didn't want to get into specifics on Russell Gage's injury. Are you able now to disclose what type of injury it is?
No, it's a lower extremity injury. I mean, it's a leg injury, but he'll be fine. I mean, we're counting on him. He'll be back, and he's working to get back.
Todd, getting the quarterbacks to a different launching point, which I think is part of this camp between you and Canales. From a defensive standpoint, how much harder does that make a defense when you're not sure where the quarterback's comfort level is?
I mean, we have a good idea what most quarterbacks in this league, what they do and where their comfort level is. And, you know, we're not game planning, but as we game plan, we kind of know who's going to be where, and we adjust accordingly. Launch point to us doesn't mean much. It's just what sections they like to throw the ball in. Everybody has their favorite spots, and no matter what the coverage is and no matter what the routes are, that spot ends up getting a lot of usage. So game plan wise, you look at that, but we're not game planning right now. It's just to see where they're comfortable at. Ultimately, we want to put them in the best launching point that makes them more comfortable. Now, Baker's left and Kyle's right or Kyle's the middle. Eventually we'll get to that, but you know, right now we're just working on everybody doing the same thing.
So when we talked to you yesterday, you had not addressed the team. What was your message to them when you started this training camp?
Obviously, the camaraderie, the culture, and the chemistry. You know, and you can't have one without the other. You know, we're building the camaraderie right now. We think we have a good culture, and it's growing more, and that creates better chemistry. So when we get that together in training camp, we think we have some very good players, and we learn how to play smart situational football. We'll be fine.
The nickel position being wide open, was there anything you saw today that stood out as a positive?
Again, just sharp mentally. You know, as the plays and the playbook comes in on both sides and the installs go in, we'll see who makes all the adjustments and who makes plays in pads. And, you know, it's different playing in T-shirt and shorts than it is in pads, and you got to have recall every day. We'll see who's mentally tough and makes plays.
I asked you about kind of the difference in the leadership styles between Kyle and Baker. And I also asked Jason as well, and kind of one thing you guys talked about was, you know, the fact that Kyle, his leadership style is a little bit different, right? Like, it's more of a quiet confidence about him. Does a quarterback need to be that kind of rah-rah, in-your-face type of a guy, or can he lead from a kind of more of a quieter place the way Trask does?
Not all the time. I mean, leadership on offense can come from the O-line, the receivers, or the running back. The quarterback, naturally, because he's a signal caller and talks a lot and tells everybody what to do, has to have some type of leadership skills, and Kyle has that as well as Baker. Kyle's very vocal when he needs to be. I mean, he comes across as quiet, but he's very loud on the field. He's very confident in what he's doing, and we like the way he leads it, and we like the way Baker leads it.
Yesterday, Jason said that Joe Tryon-Shoyinka has to step it up this season. What do you want to see from him in order to, for lack of a better term, step it up?
You know, for me, Joe has to finish at the top of the rush. He beats linemen, and he either slips down or falls off the quarterback because he's launching too early and not running through the quarterback. He has to take those extra 2 steps. You know, he left a lot of sacks out there last year. Not that he didn't get back there, but he didn't finish the play. Finishing at the top of the rush is just as important as beating the guy initially off the line of scrimmage. And, you know, me and Joe have talked about this, and he understands that, and he's working towards that, and that's what we need to see from him.
Along those same lines with the 2 rookies, Yaya Diaby and Jose Ramirez. I know it's tough to evaluate guys defensively, but just kind of what have you seen from those guys? And
well, for college tape, you see Ramirez. He's a heck of a pass rusher, and that's really his specialty, what he can do. he's an outside linebacker, but he has the strength of a defensive lineman. So he's a very good edge setter, and he can really come off the ball, and he's a really powerful guy in the speed to power rush, and we look to see both of them execute those things as we go in camp.
Saying that he could kind of be interchangeable.
No, I just said he has the strength of a D lineman. I didn't say he was a D lineman. Now, Coach Rogers might want to put him down there, but he's an outside backer, and before we get into game plan, I just said he's as strong as a defensive lineman.
Good versatility's always good with you. I know that.
Always.
There's no pads on yet, but Elijah was pretty disruptive today. What have you thought about him so far? Day one now?
I think he's a heck of a ball player, but like you said, there's no pads on the day. You gotta, the lineman can't grab and we can't hit and everything like that, but he's working, and you can see he's going to be a special player.
There's a competition between Joe and Anthony Nelson.
Competition with all of them. We compete. Nothing's given to you out here. You better earn your spot.
What's the ceiling for this secondary, Todd, especially with the addition of Ryan Neal? And how important could Ryan Neal be in this entire defense?
Ryan's huge from a communication standpoint. Since he walked in the door, him and Winfield, they've developed a great bond in the spring, especially from a disguise standpoint. He's a very good communicator. He wants to learn the game from everyone's eyes, from the coach's eyes and the player's eyes, and see everything. And his leadership and his communication out there has been invaluable. Knock on wood, if they stay healthy, I think the communication and the chemistry is coming along pretty good. I think those guys have a chance to be good.
As a former player, and I know you played a different position, but the NFL recently, multiple star running backs met up for a Zoom call to talk about, kind of the state of their position in terms of what they feel is lack of pay. And, I know one of the common themes of that conversation was, it seems like the more production they have, the more they feel like they're devalued. Just kind of as a head coach, your thoughts on that, and, if more should be done, if we're not valuing the position enough from a pay standpoint?
I don't know if I have a position. There's really nothing I can say or do about that. You feel for people, and I don't really have an answer to that. It may be, and then other people feel they may be devalued or valued. So you gotta kind of play it out as it goes, and I think each team is different, and you go accordingly. I can't answer that for the whole thing. I think I'll be the president of an NFLPA or the league if I can answer that.
Do you feel that like the running back position is valued today the way it was 10 years ago?
10 years ago, the money wasn't where it was, so obviously it's valued a lot more. You had more 25, 30-plus carry backs back then. I think the days of Peyton and Emmitt Smith and all those guys, there's not many that carry it 20 to 30 times, but they catch the ball more. They do a lot more things, and they're a lot faster, and the offenses are different. So, it's like every other position, one jumps every couple years and one goes down. So I'm sure it'll fluctuate and change.
Play out there, just living on limb, I think it was when, it's just wide open. You have all this run action in this offense. Is that going to create, some guys that get free like that?
Hopefully, hopefully it does that. And if we're running the ball enough and we're getting some yards that way, hopefully it creates some of those type of situations.
Yeah. All right, there's Todd Bowles. He hit a bunch of different topics there. I will just say this: it is a much more, as Ira Kaufman has called it, assertive Todd Bowles, even in the press conferences, just the way he's challenging the media on certain questions. And I love that. I love that about Todd Bowles. I think we're seeing more of his true self come out into the media, and I think that's great. I think it's good for his players to see. I think it's good for for the fans to see. He just seems, much more comfortable this year in his own skin and in this job. And as I've said, I think he's a huge question mark for this team and how he manages the team. But everybody to a man is pulling for him. There's no question about that. But that's just based on his history. And I was talking to Ira today, and I told him my Dallas to Dallas. And he's like, I like that, Dallas to Dallas. The team got worse over the entire season. The Cowboys got better, and the Bucs got worse. And, that falls first and foremost on the head coach. And he knows that. Todd Bowles knows that. And last year was dysfunctional. We all know that. He's got a better chance this year. He's got his hand-picked offensive coordinator. He's made the changes to the staff that he sees fit. And I think he'll have a better shot. Now, will he manage the games differently? I hope so. I think he can certainly see and does self-scouting on where some of the flaws were. And I know the organization is going to try to help him with that because it's very tough to call plays and manage a game. And I think we're seeing in college and pros, guys go away from that. So we'll see how that evolves this year.
Yeah, bottom line, Todd Bowles is coaching for his job this year. There's no other way around it or to even spin it. He's coaching for his job. And so if you're Todd Bowles and you've been a head coach for 5 years in the NFL and it hasn't been great, maybe 1 year with the Jets it was good, but the rest of it has been kind of a crapshoot, if we're being honest.
Yeah.
I think by all means, if you got to try something different, if you got to change a philosophy or just a way that you lead a team, whatever that may be, I don't know. But whatever that is, I think he needs to figure that out rather quickly because he's on the hot seat. I mean, Ira brought it up yesterday, and I did see it yesterday too from, I think it was BetOnline AG. He's got the second highest odds to be the first coach hired. There's just no other way around that. So, a lot rides on Todd Bowles. I will say the one thing he said in this press conference that kind of jumped out to me, and again, a guy we haven't talked about a lot, but he was an addition, is Orion Neal.
Mm-hmm.
And I tell you what, I think him and Winfield, especially Antoine sliding back to his natural position where he really shined his first 2 years in the league.
Yeah.
And given how great, and I use the word great because he really was great last year for Seattle when Jamal Adams went down, we could be talking about one of the better safety tandems in the NFL potentially.
Yeah.
And Antoine Winfield and Ryan Neal. So we focus so much on what's going on the outside with Carlton Davis and Jamel Dean and how great of a duo they can be. I think that safety duo is actually a better at what they do than what the two corners do at what they do. I think that's a fair assessment, and I think you might see that this year. And he's going to. And what is he on here? A 1 year deal, $2.5 million.
Yeah,
talk about a bargain that they got him on.
Yeah.
I think that's going to pay huge dividends for this defense this season.
Yeah, I think the Bucs will try and re-sign him and extend him during the season if they get what they're getting. And he was very prominent today. I mean, he's very vocal. He's out there calling out plays, and he's like, watch this, watch this. He's one of those cheaters in practice where they've seen the offense through the OTAs, and he's like, he knows. But, I like that. He's very vocal.
You have to also know, like, if this is Canales' offense,
right.
He saw it for however long he was there in Seattle. So he's definitely got to be ahead of the curve. And also remember how big he is. He's 6'3", I think, just over 200. He's a thumper.
Yeah.
He hits you and you feel it. I mean, I'm not going to say he's John Lynch by any means, and nor does anybody in the league today have the ability to be a John Lynch.
Not allowed to.
But, if he could be some kind of a form of that and be good in coverage, which I think was his calling card last year in Seattle, I think you're onto something there with that safety tandem.
Did we miss it? Was he even asked about Devin White?
I don't believe so.
Huh.
He was not in the now the press conference that they posted. It kind of led into in the middle of him answering a question.
Yeah.
So maybe it was one of the first ones. Maybe it was one of the first ones because I'd have to think that was probably on everyone's mind to start.
Of course. So maybe we'll search for a transcript on that.
Yeah.
see if we can get something. That's always interesting how it gets edited. So we'll see what we can find. I'll see if I can find out from the other media members that are in the media room here on our next break. I'll see if I can grab one and see what happened. Trying to finagle a couple to come over here and chat with us, but they're all busy right now.
It does sound. I'm going through it here on some Twitter for some clips. It does sound like he kind of just kept it pretty short, and that he was out there, and that it was a huge thing, and that he looked good. So he kept it pretty short and sweet. It looks like.
Yeah, and in case you're just joining us here on the podcast, we started off by talking about Devin White being here. He's here. He's practicing. That's good stuff. I didn't think he was going to practice. I think to a man, everybody in the media I talked to felt the same way. So that's a great storyline. He's here. He's practicing, and whatever was said to him, and I got to believe his teammates are the biggest thing. His teammates, they know. Look, as much as I think Devin White is overplaying his hand, he could be a huge, huge part of a shocking season for the Bucs. And honestly, they need that. The Bucs are going to need everything to hit this year to be good, right? They're going to have to be really healthy. They don't have a lot of really good depth. they're going to have to, get some breaks, and they're going to have every player that they have needs to play to their ability or beyond it. And that happens from year to year. It happened with Seattle last year. It happened with the Eagles last year. It happens from year to year. Your team just stays ridiculously healthy. They get great performances from every guy. And, here's a guy Devin White, who was a high ceiling guy. He's a super high ceiling guy. And if you can get that play from him, boy, it just lifts up your entire defense. And that's what they need. And if he decides that he's not going to play at that level, and when he's running around with his hair on fire because he's trying to protect himself or whatever, and I'm saying that he is, but the bottom line is he's here today. He's practicing, and that's the best storyline we could have had today. And I think it's a little surprising. And I'm glad he decided to play. It's going to help this team. Now he could always, go back on that and just leave camp, but we'll see what the future holds. We're not going to predict that, but hopefully he's in good shape. And as we mentioned earlier, with the quarterback battle, Trask and Baker Mayfield, they took about equal amount of reps as far as I could see. Trask had some nice moments with a great laser over the middle to Chris Godwin. Baker on the first play from scrimmage, little bootleg backside tight end, wide open, Kate Otten down the sideline for an 80-yard touchdown. Nobody within 30, 40 yards of him. But this is, this defense, they're not used to all this movement and this crossing and all the different stuff, or how Canales and this offense schemes guys open. So this is why Todd Bowles wanted Canales to be his offensive coordinator, because he tried to defend the Rams for many years, and it's not fun. It's not fun, and it confuses his defense, and that's what he wants in an offensive coordinator, and that's what he finally got. So that's good stuff. We have any other sound coming down the pack? Did any of the other players talk?
Yeah, I'm trying to field the Rashad White, because it looks like he spoke and some other players, but I don't think the Bucs have posted it yet.
All right, let's take a quick break. We'll come back on the other side, do a little college football. We got some sound from Alex Golish from AAC Media Days. Not very long, but fun. Jared Verse, also the a guy that's in line for some great hardware. As far as one of the best outside rushers, a guy that probably would have been a top 10 draft pick, decided to come back to FSU for one reason, and that's to win the ACC and win a national championship. So we'll hear from Jared Verse, and we'll hear from Mario Cristobal, one of the dumbest things I've ever heard. So all that coming your way next here on the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by Extravaganza Productions. If you have an event coming up, big or small, they're the ones that do it all. They have a complete warehouse full of props. Have a creative session on them. It's free. Just call them up. Go to the website, extravaganzaproductions.com, and they will do a free creative session to let you know what they can do to make your event a smash hit. Extravaganzaproductions.com. Stay with us.
Jeeves Law Group. Have you been injured in an accident, in an auto accident, truck accident, motorcycle accident, at work, or at a place of business? Well, call the Jeeves Law Group and get the personal attention that you deserve. I made the mistake many, many years ago with going with one of the bigger law firms, the national law firms. And let me tell you, getting a call back from those folks was next to impossible. Weeks and weeks would go by, never get a call back. That doesn't happen with the Jeeves Law Group. Personal attention is what they're all about. When you call the Jeeves Law Group, you will be part of the family. They will represent you in a vigorous and aggressive way against the insurance companies. These larger companies will promise bigger settlements, but it's the Jeeves Law Group that will get you the best results. If you're tired of dealing with these bigger law firms, check out the Jeeves Law Group. Go to jeeveslawgroup.com, tell them JP sent you, get a free consultation. It's the Jeeves Law Group. Scott Jeeves has been representing clients in the Tampa Bay area for over 25 years. Give them a call. It's a free call, 727-894-2929, 727-894-2929, or go to jeeveslawgroup.com. Ladies and gentlemen, are you looking to lose weight or just lean up for bathing suit season, where there are so many diets and chiropractors and weight loss clinics out there? You don't know where to start, right? We'll start at Bay Area Modern Medical Center. Chris Lugo, PA, and his professional staff will devise a personal plan for you that gets results and will help you keep the weight off. Everybody metabolizes food and supplements differently. Many of these other approaches are designed for the masses. So how's that going to work for you specifically? It's not. Chris will spend one-on-one time with you to find out what works best for you so the weight comes off safely without the use of harmful drugs and side effects. Call 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. Tell them JP sent you for priority scheduling. 844-977-3477 or BAMMC.com. Insurance coverage can be confusing and expensive. I mean, where do you start? Which companies can you count on to pay out fast and fair? Well, call the great folks at Italiano Insurance. It's a family-owned business. Jeff and Nat Italiano are carrying on the 60-year-plus tradition of giving amazing customer service and giving back to the community through their annual backpack drive for needy students and their support of the local pediatric cancer patients. But it's the customer service that sets them apart. They can shop all your insurance needs and save you big-time money. Don't hop on the internet and waste time looking at some bogus reviews. Talk to knowledgeable agents and not some voice-generated robot. These are confusing times for homeowners, and Italiano's team of experienced professionals can provide the right coverage for every situation. Home, auto, business, life. It's Italiano for all the pieces of your life. Call 813-877-7799 or go to ItalianoInsurance.com. Hey guys, are you experiencing those feelings of getting older, lower sex drive, fatigue, hot flashes, moodiness, or you just don't feel like you had the vitality you once had? It's a chronic problem here in the United States. You're not just getting old, it's likely low testosterone. Studies over the last 20 years show a shocking decline in younger males aged 16 to 39. Older men have seen a sharp decline as well, so do something about it. Go see my friend Christopher Lugo at Bay Area Modern Medicine. Look, testosterone replacement is not a frivolous treatment. It takes a professional, targeted approach that focuses on total body wellness, vitality, and emotional stability, not a one-size-fits-all approach like many clinics use. They will monitor your blood work and adjust your treatment as needed for optimal results. Folks, I've been on testosterone therapy for over 6 years, and it is a life changer. You will feel and look better than you did 10 years ago. Give them a call at 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. Tell them JP sent you for priority scheduling. That's 844-977-3477 or BAMMC.com. Hey, JP here for Extravaganza Productions Incorporated, EPI. You've probably seen their purple logo at so many events that you've gone to. They are based in Tampa. And for over 33 years, they've been creating and producing conferences, meetings, and special events, the biggest to the smallest. Solid reputation of delivering the best audio-visual, sound, lighting, entertainment, video production, and decor on time and on budget. I've worked with them with so many big events. The Warrior Games, which was an Olympic-style event all over Tampa Bay, from McDill to the Convention Center to USF. They did it flawlessly, made it look big and fantastic. I've worked with them on small events as well, large and small meetings and conferences, sporting events, fundraisers. If you got a fundraiser, you don't know the logistical way to pull it off, they'll take care of everything. Entertainment events, branding events, grand openings, so much more. The folks at Extravaganza Productions are the most professional and the best. I've worked with them many times. They are fantastic. You can contact them through extravaganzaproductions.com or call 813-621-4700. Extravaganza Productions, they are awesome.
Pure sports. JP is back on.
Welcome back.
FanStream Sports.
Welcome back to the JP Peterson Show. We're going to dive into some college football here. We're brought to you by the great folks at the Golden Diamond Source. Of course, if you're getting engaged, who else are you going to go to? It's the Golden Diamond Source. Get a bigger, better diamond. You can upgrade when you want to and get 100% of what you paid with their diamond savings account. Best staff, best selection, best everything, best people. We absolutely love them. They're the Gold and Diamond Source, 3800 Omerton Road, always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com. All right, brother, let's do some college football, shall we? We'll be out at the USF football golf tournament fundraiser on Friday. Hope to have Coach Alex on with us. He was at the AAC meetings where
whatever that means.
They were picked to finish 13th behind Rice.
Only ahead of Charlotte.
Hey, well, you know what? I can say this for Coach. Expectations are low. That's always a good thing in your first year. Nobody's saying you got to go beat Alabama.
Hey,
so
listen, the bar. You talk about if he wins 50% more games than last year,
double your win total with
double
two.
your win total, baby, with two.
Come on, it's a step forward.
I think it's going to be a little bit higher than that, though. If it's not a little higher than that, then I think we have some issues. We'll have some issues with this schedule.
Well, I'll tell you what. The way he's had to remake this roster and install everything, different systems, different everything, different coaching staffs. I mean, this is truly on him. I mean, this is truly on him. If they could take some steps forward this year, he should get all of the credit.
I did learn this yesterday too. So everybody talks about all the players that Dion's brought in. He's brought in half a program essentially this offseason or more.
Yeah, more.
And I think Golish said yesterday they've brought in 48 new players, and I think 37 or 38 of those are on scholarship. So it's not getting talked about a lot, obviously, but there has been a lot of turnover to this roster.
And these players are coming from good programs, SEC programs, Big Ten programs. Yeah,
it's just kind of the guys who can't crack the lineup there, but you come to USF, you got a chance to play, easier competition, and usually these guys you have a pretty good success rate. And I'm hoping because again, like I said yesterday, it's in judging by who he brought with him to the media days. It seems like we're running this back again. It's the Gary Bohannon show.
Yeah,
he's
Byron
going to be
Brown
quarterback once again.
No go. Listen, I don't want to judge Gary Bohannon by what happened last year because clearly it was a mess, from a coaching standpoint, from a organizational standpoint. They just, as much as I love Coach Scott, he just did not get it done. And this is going to be a different deal. So everybody's starting fresh. Well, Gary came in with great credentials. I mean, he won freaking 9 games at Baylor. That's a pretty damn good resume. So let's see what Alex can do with him. But I haven't heard the soundbite. You have, so you can set it up for us here.
Yeah, so Golish goes and talks for about 6 or 7 minutes, and it's all the typical coach speak fodder that you get for an opening statement. Nothing noteworthy. He fields 2 questions, both from the same reporter named Chris. Not sure who Chris is. The questions are very general. Again, not much really to go off of. And then he takes a sip of his water and he kind of is looking around and nothing's going on. And then all of a sudden you hear the PR guy go, "All right, we're all good." And this was what Alex Golish then presser with his little zinger here. And I'll cue it up here for you so you can hear it.
So much, Coach. Yeah, absolutely. Go Bulls. I appreciate it. Hopefully a year from now we're relevant enough that we'll have a bunch of questions. So I appreciate it. Go Bulls.
Well, how many people in the media there, first of all, were from Tampa? Not many, probably. And then second of all, how many people from other markets were like, who is this guy? Who? I mean, I don't want to go down this. Well, yeah, I do. Can you just imagine if they would have found a way to pay Dion? If they'd have found a way to pay Dion and, the $30 million that he wanted and the $30 million for his staff, obviously they had other priorities in terms of getting that on-campus stadium. But can you imagine the difference of this program right now? Can you imagine where they'd be in terms of – I mean, I think it was when the whole thing went down, that week the Bucs were playing a Sunday or Monday night game. I forget what it was, but the national the media was here. It was a national game. I think it was a Sunday night. And I'm just saying, Dion would have been on. He would have been on the set over at Raymond James Stadium, going, "This is my house now. This is my house now. The Bucs now they play here too. Tom Brady's play here, but this is my house now." And people would be laughing and he'd be getting tons of press and all the players that he'd be bringing in. He'd be pissing off FSU and pissing off Florida.
Well,
pissing off everybody in this state.
I'll make my bold take of the college football season right here, right now. Okay.
Yeah.
Alex Golish will win more games in year 1 than Deion Sanders will in year 1. So, respectfully, I'm going to put the Deion.
That's a poll question. That's a poll question.
I'm 8 months removed from this ordeal going down. I have moved on. Everyone should move on. Alex Golish is your head coach of USF, and we're going to put some respect on Mr. Golesh's name, as you love to so politely put. has engineered the top offense in college football for the last 2 seasons, took a quarterback named Hendon Hooker, who was a very average, dare I say, mid quarterback at Virginia Tech, and turned him into a Heisman contender and a top draft pick in the NFL draft. Those are his credentials at Tennessee. How about at UCF when he engineered a top 5 offense in college football, and Dylan Gabriel was one of the best quarterbacks in the country at that time. Go back to Iowa State. He was pumping out tight ends left and right as a tight end coach there. There are some credentials here with Mr. Alex Golesh, and I'm not going to say a fan, but as a USF believer and hoper that this program will turn itself around, I am fully behind Mr. Alex Golesh as a head coach. I've listened to what Hendon Hooker said about him. I listened yesterday to what Joe Milton said about him, that he will become a successful head coach. I truly believe it. And so there's my prediction. Alex Golesh will win more games in year 1 than Deion Sanders will win in year 1, who Colorado has a rude awakening coming for them in the Pac-12 this season.
I like it. Wow.
That's a conviction right there, Mr. Alex Golesh. I don't care if he's smacking gum. I don't care. Which, by the way, the gum was out of the mouth yesterday for those
appreciate that.
Firing minds wanted to know.
Yeah, well, I want to hear what he has to say. I don't want to hear the smacking of gum. I don't think it's a good play from a communication standpoint. Listen, I hope you're right. I think that'd be a good poll question. We need to put that out. Who wins more games next year? Because, no, I do think Deion's brought in a ton of talent. But can he coach him up? We'll see.
Is Shedeur really? That's what we're going to find out. It's all about the quarterbacks. Is Shedeur, his son, is he really this caliber of quarterback for a Power 5 team?
Well, he was recruited by Power 5 teams. There were a lot of teams that wanted him. He was a 4-star quarterback, if I'm not mistaken.
When I see all these Heisman polls and I see Shedeur Sanders written in these short lists, I have to laugh. I mean, this is Colorado. Okay, this is not.
This ain't your daddy's Colorado, though. Come on now.
Okay, well, we'll see. Listen, all fair to Deion and off the field. Hopefully, Deion's getting better. I've seen he's going through some of these surgeries and things. I think with what's going on with his feet, I want to say is the problem.
Yeah, he's got a foot issue from a botched surgery or something. He got some staph infection or something, and that will mess you up, and he might have to have his foot amputated. So healing vibe going out to Deion for that. But
until then, I'm forgetting about what's going on with Deion Sanders at Colorado, and I'm focused on Alex Golesh and because he's got a big job ahead of him.
It's funny. You watch the Pac-12 trailers on ESPN and Fox and everything. It's Fox, I think, and it's for the Pac-12. It's all him. It's all Deion. It's a 30-second trailer. It's like 25 of it's Deion.
It's all Deion.
The last place team
in
the league.
It's not like the best player in college football plays in that conference or anything, Yeah,
you think?
It's all Deion, yeah. It's great. It's just great. By the way, where's the Pac-12 playing their games on TV this year?
On Fox, right?
Are they?
I think so, yeah. Most of them are on Fox.
Yeah, their media days, and their commissioner was like, well, we didn't want to announce a media rights deal here at Media Day because we don't want it to upstage the on-the-field product. And I'm like, yeah, that's code for we don't have a media deal, and the discussions are going awful, and we're probably going to be playing games on the CW network next to Live Golf. And we don't want to have to tout that because we're embarrassed. So again, the Pac-12, talk about dying, oh my goodness. But anyway, if you want to actually laugh at a head coach, and you want to see an answer that makes zero sense, look no further than Mr. Mario Cristobal from Miami. Which it's funny, the entire city of Miami is on fire when it comes to sports right now. And
yes, because it's the off season for some of them.
Yeah, but you know what? It's funny though. The team that used to run Miami, I think you would agree, Miami was the team back in the day.
They were. The Canes were the dominant sports program in the marketplace. Absolutely.
Yeah, but now we're losing to Middle Tennessee State, putting out awful players left and right. Bad product. Can't fill the stadium. Messi's going to have more people watching him in Lockhart Stadium than the Canes are going to be watching him in Hard Rock by halfway through this season because it's going to be a disaster.
Truth.
Tell me when I'm telling lies, but Mario Cristobal, and speaking of Messi, here's him talking about how Messi relates to the Miami Hurricanes.
You guys just lobbed me up a great NIL opportunity. I mean, if Mr. Messi, takes a chance to come to Miami to continue to grow his brand, why wouldn't any player in the country not come to Miami?
Come on.
That's right. So thank you for that lob.
Okay, well, let me explain it to you. Mario Cristobal. Okay. Messi's presence in Miami actually hurts your players' NIL chances because he's getting all the attention. And this is what happens in Miami because it's a front-running city. Everybody, and it's a celebrity city, right? Everybody's going to want to be around Messi, talk about Messi. Messi's going to dominate all the local sports. It's going to be Messi, 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 Messi. Where does that put University of Miami? Back page. Especially if you're not winning. If you're not winning in Miami, nobody cares about the Canes. Nobody.
Here's the harsh reality for Miami right now. Here's my harsh reality. Not only are the Miami Heat more relevant than the Miami Hurricanes, not only are the Miami Dolphins, not only are the Florida Panthers, Inter Miami is more relevant than your program.
That's right.
The second Lionel Messi showed up in Miami, and if you took notice yesterday, Mr. Messi, as Cristobal loved to call him there, 2 goals in a span of 22 minutes from Mr. Messi.
Not bad.
Killing it down there. Inter Miami, the worst team in the MLS, by the way.
Yeah.
Since Messi's come over, they have like a 5-1 goal differential up, and Messi has like 4 goal contributions. He scored 3 goals in like his first hour of playing with Inter Miami. So there you go. That talk about the Messi effect. Yeah, your Hurricanes are irrelevant down there.
I saw one of the highlights. There was like nobody near Messi. Did they not get a scouting report? That other squad?
I saw both the goals on Twitter, and I'm just like, yeah, he's going to score 60 goals in like 3 months if this is how we're going to treat the greatest player that's ever lived.
Yeah.
We're just not going to mark him. We're going to let him do a nice little light jog into the box, and let some like pass get through 4 guys into Messi's foot. And then we're going to let him just run freely and stay on side and just put one in. I mean, he's going to just kill it down there. It's going to be unlike anything you've ever seen with soccer in this country.
Yeah, it doesn't look a lot like European soccer in the way it looked when he was playing there. So, yeah, I would if you're Miami, you've gone from relevancy number 1, University of Miami, to number 5. So good luck. And maybe by midseason, Tom Herman and FAU have surpassed you. And you're insane. We'll see how it goes. Look, Cristobal has done a nice job recruiting. They've done some good things, and so now he's got to bring it all together.
Yes.
He's got to bring it all together. We'll see, but I know what he's thinking there. It's like, oh, Miami, it's a great place to grow your brand, but you also have to think about the competition for your brand as well. And again, when Miami's not winning, nobody cares down there. Nobody cares. They get like 10, 15,000 for games in Hard Rock. It's an embarrassment. So, and when you're getting your ass kicked 45-3 by your chief rival, go Knowles. Probably not a great.
And speaking of the Knowles, ACC Media Day is going on, and Norvell is there today, so we'll have sound from that tomorrow. Which, by the way, he gets it. He shows up today and he's wearing the Bobby Bowden tribute tie, so nice. A little homage to the history there. And you've been saying that you draw similarities to the two.
No question. In
the way they've created a family atmosphere.
Well, Corey Fuller, who's one on their staff there, played obviously for Coach Bowden. And played for a national championship. I think he was on the '93 team. Corey played, had a long career in the NFL as well. He said that about Norvell. He said this is I get a lot of Bobby Bowden vibes from him because of the way he treats his players. The way, Corey's son is a baseball player, doesn't even play for him. And Mike Norvell went out of he told Corey that I'm going to come see one of his games this summer, and he showed up in one of his games and spent some time there with the family. So he's the real deal. He's authentic. It's faith, family football for him. And that's exactly what Coach Bowden preached his entire career. So I love it. And Jared Verse is one of those guys, right? One of those gentlemen that could have gone in the top 10 of the NFL draft, decided to come back because he wanted to be part of something special. They win 10 games last year, shocked everybody, including myself. And now they have a chance to win a national championship. I think they're 4th or 5th best odds to win a national championship, depending on what you're looking at. So here's Jared Verse. I believe we have some sound from him.
Yeah, here's Verse, and this was him talking about the expectations on the program going into this season.
I think, Coach Norvell said perfectly. This is Florida State. You shouldn't expect us to be lower level, bottom of the pot. You should expect us. We should be in those conversations of playoffs, teams that are going to make it to the national championship. We got all the pieces here. We got the best linebackers in the country. We got the best QB in the country, the best running backs in the country, best O-line, best D-line. We got the best AD across the board, best DB, safeties, coaches. Like, this is a conversation that we should have been having. But now we hear it. Everybody's kind of seeing it. Everybody's finally giving us the attention, the respect we deserve, and we just got to go out there and prove that we earn it.
Yeah, I'm a little concerned about the lofty expectations. I'm a little concerned that these guys are reading their press clippings, and they open up with LSU, who many have picked to win the national championship and the SEC championship over Alabama and Georgia. So, yeah, we'll see. I just hope these guys don't get full of themselves. I've seen that happen before. Speaking of Miami, and speaking of Dion, 1988.
Yeah. It's like I'm almost
Seminole
like,
rap, 31-0 Miami.
Right. It's almost like with Florida State right now, I'm like I look at the roster and I'm looking at it objectively. And we look at the roster, you look at the returning talent. It seems so obvious that you have to put them in that conversation as a true national championship contender. I mean, clearly when you look at the schedule as well, you have 2 games in there that you have to win. LSU to start the season, and then, of course, Clemson. You have – regardless of what you feel about Clemson, they've had FSU's number for the past 6-7 years. If they're they have to get over that hump. This has to be the year they take down Clemson. And Clemson, on paper, looks like they're a lot better this year than they were last year. Dabo's not going anywhere. That program is going to be here for a long, long time. We know that. But so when I say that, it's like I'm almost like holding on a little bit. Like if I was to predict a Final Four right now for college football for a playoff, I'm probably not going to put Florida State in there.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's like that little bit, I don't know if you feel the same way, there's that little bit of doubt that still is like creeping into like the back of my mind. It's not in the front of my mind, but I'm still thinking about it like, okay, well, what if because last year everything went right for that stretch and all that, now as you just mentioned, maybe they're reading the press clippings. You heard Jared Verse. I mean, I love the confidence, don't get me wrong. And I feel like if you're going to play for Florida State in one of these big programs, you need guys like that are confident that, hey, we're Florida State and we're coming. Like, I appreciate that, but you don't want to be overconfident by any means. You got to be realistic at some point. So there's that little bit of doubt in my mind that what if they just go 10-3 again? And I think 10-3 would be great, right?
Yes,
if they finish the season 10-3, we should be like over the moon.
But we won't be.
But the way things have been set up, it's like if they don't finish the regular season 11-1, we're probably going, oh man, they kind of underachieved a little bit, and that's the part that sucks about the whole thing.
I think, the LSU game is huge. There's no question. It's just to gain momentum. Like I said last year, I thought it was the most important game, and they won it, although they almost gave it away. Norvell did not manage that game very well.
No.
And he's got to be better at that this year. He's got to be better at managing games. He admitted that. He admitted he made some mistakes. So hopefully he's learned and self-scouted himself. But they could lose – if they play well against LSU and lose that game – as long as they run the table and win the ACC and beat Clemson and beat Miami and Florida, then they'll be in a playoff. No question in my mind. But they'd have to win the ACC championship as well to do so. So we'll see.
Regardless, I mean, I know as somebody who went to Florida State and has been through all the glory years, it has to just feel in general like you start the season, huge game. Against LSU in Orlando. I know it's a stadium that we are not really fond of, but we're going to be there. It's going to be awesome. We know that. This is what you want. There were 5 years there where it was dormant, where you just didn't get these experiences and all these things, this lead up to a season where you're like, wow, we have a chance to win a national championship potentially. It's better for college football as far as I'm concerned, and I still hope that eventually we can get back to having Florida State, Florida, and Miami in that conversation. Because I think college football could use it.
Yeah, and I think that's on the way. I think Miami has the right coach in Cristobal, as silly as that statement was. I think Napier is the guy in Florida because he understands it's about recruiting. And, how can you question Mike Norvell and what
regardless, all 3 coaches in different ways understand the expectations of the program. And obviously Napier coming from the outside, Norvell coming from the outside are embracing what they used to be and trying to learn from that and get back to that. And then Cristobal clearly I can't think of a better guy to run that program of somebody who truly gets Miami. So again, we can laugh at the soundbite and some of the things, but I'm not going to sit here and tell you he's not a good head coach. If I'm ranking top coaches in college football, he's probably in the top 15 at the worst.
He's the guy for Miami. He's the best coach they've hired since, I don't know what, maybe Dennis Erickson.
I thought since Mark Rick. Mark
did a great job.
I thought
Mark
it worked.
did a great job. Yeah, I mean, you win in 10 games a year. And Mark will always be criticized for winning 10 games a year, but he couldn't get over the hump at Georgia or Miami. And by the way, prayers out to him, and hopefully he continues to be able to. I thought he was great last year on the ACC shows. He really adds a light touch to it, and he's got definitely has some health issues and dealing with Parkinson's, but hopefully he can continue to be on the ACC network. I enjoy him very much. And speaking of the ACC, I wanted to talk a little bit about this. The Times had an article today about the ACC in general, trying to keep Miami and Clemson and FSU within the league. Their new commissioner, Jim Phillips, posed a question Tuesday morning about additional revenue, and he talked about trying to make it look. FSU's 30 million, and all ACC teams 30 million less per season than the ACC and the Big Ten. That's a big chunk. That's about, in terms of payouts, I think that's about 25% less, 25 to 30% less. That's a game changer. We talk about annual revenues, but Phillips suggested the ACC can meet that threshold for success in other ways. He says some of the ACC's power programs spent the offseason grumbling about money. So much of that, one of the FSU trustees asked if it was financially feasible for the Seminoles to leave the league. Athletic Director Michael Alford showed a $30 million annual gap between FSU and the SEC and Big Ten. Phillips said the league and its schools are working together to close the gap with solutions such as an 8-point plan with marketing group Fishbait Solutions to create new revenue. Now, I don't know what that is. Is that I'm sure that's internet level, type of maybe Instagram and social media, and people can make a lot of money on these platforms, and maybe they can create some platforms where these players can make lots of money, or the institutions can make lots of money. There's definitely revenue available for that. No question about it. Being completely motivated together with ESPN to create additional dollars. Not sure what that means, but it certainly would help. And he said weighing future payouts more towards schools that perform better in revenue sports. Yeah. So how about, this is what FSU's problem has always been, and their complaint is, we're bringing all the eyeballs to the league, us, Clemson, and Miami, and the rest of you guys are getting as much money as us. So you don't spend as much money and you get more. They're like, like we're the Yankees and you guys are the Rays. How about we should be making more money? And I think that's fair. And somehow they're going to have to address that, or I think FSU, Clemson, and Miami are going to be gone. So we'll see how that plays out. All right, we'll take our final break, and we'll come back with a couple more. I got to get into this. Have you heard about the Taylor Swift, Travis Kelce wooing? Well, we're going to hear from Travis Kelce himself.
Do we have more? Are you telling me that we have more TMZ fodder to get?
Yes, man. I can't wait for you to hear this. This is great stuff. Travis Kelce groveling over Taylor Swift. Good stuff. And a couple other gems for you. So stay with us here. We're brought to you by the great folks at American Mortgage Services. Scott Fitzgerald is the best in the business. He will get you a mortgage. He will get you a refi with the lowest fees, I promise you. Just email him, scott@amstampa.com. That's amstampa.com. They have will not only do that for you, he will look at your entire financial picture and tell you when it's a good time to refi, where to spend that money, and how to best lower your payments across the board. He's a genius at that, and he can help you with any real estate investment that you would like as well. So hit him up, scott@amstampa.com. Back in 3.
feel like you had the vitality you once had. It's a chronic problem here in the United States. You're not just getting old, it's likely low testosterone. Studies over the last 20 years show a shocking decline in younger males aged 16 to 39. Older men have seen a sharp decline as well. So do something about it. Go see my friend Christopher Lugo at Bay Area Modern Medicine. Look, testosterone replacement is not a frivolous treatment. It takes a professional, targeted approach that focuses on total body wellness, vitality, and emotional stability, not a one-size-fits-all approach like many clinics use. They will monitor your blood work and adjust your treatment as needed for optimal results. Folks, I've been on testosterone therapy for over 6 years, and it is a life changer. You will feel and look better than you did 10 years ago. Give them a call at 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. Tell them JP sent you for priority scheduling. That's 844-977-3477 or BAMMC.com. Hey, JP here for Extravaganza Productions Incorporated, EPI. You've probably seen their purple logo at so many events that you've gone to. They are based in Tampa, and for over 33 years, they've been creating and producing conferences, meetings, and special events, the biggest to the smallest. Solid reputation of delivering the best audio-visual, sound, lighting, entertainment, video production, and decor on time and on budget. I've worked with them with so many big events. The Warrior Games, which was an Olympic-style event all over Tampa Bay, from McDill to the Convention Center to USF. They did it flawlessly, made it look big and fantastic. I've worked with them on small events as well, large and small meetings and conferences, sporting events, fundraisers. If you got a fundraiser, you don't know the logistical way to pull it off, they'll take care of everything. Entertainment events, branding events, grand openings, so much more. The folks at Extravaganza Productions are the most professional and the best. I've worked with them many times. They are fantastic. You can contact them through extravaganzaproductions.com or call 813-621-4700. Extravaganza Productions, they are awesome. JP here for the Jeeves Law Group. Have you been injured in an accident, in an auto accident, truck accident, motorcycle accident, at work, or at a place of business? Well, call the Jeeves Law Group and get the personal attention that you deserve. I made the mistake many, many years ago with going with one of the bigger law firms, the national law firms. And let me tell you, getting a call back from those folks was next to impossible. Weeks and weeks would go by, never get a call back. That doesn't happen with the Jeeves Law Group. Personal attention is what they're all about. When you call the Jeeves Law Group, you will be part of the family. They will represent you in a vigorous and aggressive way against the insurance companies. These larger companies will promise bigger settlements, but it's the Jeeves Law Group that will get you the best results. If you're tired of dealing with these bigger law firms, check out the Jeeves Law Group. Go to jeeveslawgroup.com, tell them JP sent you, get a free consultation. It's the Jeeves Law Group. Scott Jeeves has been representing clients in the Tampa Bay area for over 25 years. Give them a call. It's a free call, 727-894-2929, 727-894-2929, or go to jeeveslawgroup.com.
During COVID, over 1.7 million people were added to the Florida Medicaid rolls, but as of April 1st, 2023, most of these people may not be eligible for the Medicaid coverage and will lose their health plan. If you have been notified you are losing your coverage, don't freak out. It's very likely you can apply for a federal subsidy under the Affordable Care Act. Just call 877-652-0244. Our representatives will walk you through the whole process, get some basic information on your income, number of kids, and then they'll find a plan that best fits your needs. In fact, with the new laws, 90% of Americans qualify for reduced or free health care. You can select great plans like Florida Blue, that's my carrier, love them, paying $800 left after making the call. 877-652-0244. Our highly trained professionals know all the intricacies of the new laws. They will do all the work. You save tons of money. So if you're being dropped from Medicaid, fear not. Call 877-652-0244. Get real health insurance, free doctor visits, free blood work, no deductibles. 877-652-0244.
Pure sports. JP is back on.
Welcome back.
FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by the great folks at the Golden Diamond Source, Italiano Insurance, Extravaganza Productions, American Mortgage Services, and, of course, the Jeeves Law Group and Bay Area Modern Medical Center. If you missed Chris Lugo, who was on with us yesterday talking about hydration and how you guys can work out in the heat and still stay hydrated, check that out from yesterday's show. was in the 11:45 segment. He also talked about these athletes like Bronny James, so many of them having cardiac arrests, and obviously this is something that hasn't been happening, at least in my lifetime covering sports. So clearly there's issues going on here, and I checked that out yesterday. It was a very interesting conversation. All right, got to get to a couple more things, and let's talk money. Before we talk about these pedestrian, just, measly NBA contracts and NFL contracts, can you, Nick Geddes, tell me how you can offer a player $770 million for a year in soccer, as the Saudis have done to Mbappe? Like, how does this work?
Are you ready for the answer?
Yeah.
Because.
Okay. I'm searching for something a little bit more. Because they can.
Yeah, because they can. There's not really much more to it. Because they can. They're sports washing, as you have always mentioned. That's what they're doing.
But they're pissing people off. Now they're pissing people off. Like, how is this helping them become globally more accepted? I don't get it.
I couldn't tell you the strategy. I just know the money being thrown around is absolutely insane. The idea that I don't care who you are, even if Messi was getting $776 million, they offered Messi $1 billion for a whole year to play, and he turned that down because quality of life, his family didn't want to go there, and came to MLS instead. And think about how much money he left on the table. But you're Lionel Messi, you don't need it. Not that Mbappe needs it either, but if you're Kylian Mbappe, it's a smart move. You get your money for a year. They'll let you go as a free agent at the end, and you go to Real Madrid. You get what you want, and you're $776 million, richer.
You'll buy your own soccer team at that point. Yeah.
Exactly, and then I think you are bigger than the club. Then I'd argue at that point.
Yeah, exactly. You are.
But yeah, that's the reasoning. There's really nothing more to it. I mean, it's not just Mbappe, and I won't bore you with the names of players, but just know that the Saudi league, they're not just taking in the guys who are over the hill, right? It's not just 38, 39-year-old Cristiano Ronaldo that's in that league anymore. It's some guys who are in their prime. And
they're playing for teams. They're going to play for teams that nobody cares about and aren't even on TV.
Right.
It's so live golf.
As a soccer fan, it sucks.
Ridiculous. All right, the Giants have signed an extension for Andrew Thomas, who was in the same class as Tristan Wirfs, I believe, right?
Yep.
$117 million extension for 5 years, $67 million guaranteed. That is a record for an offensive lineman. Wow. Tristan Wirfs is going to get all that and more.
Yeah, Tristan Wirfs, and I saw it with the Laramie Tunsil contract. I saw it with this. Even Titus Howard, who's not even an elite tackle in this game, just got $20 million per. The numbers are going crazy. I think Tristan Wirfs probably is going to outdo all of them, assuming he's the same as he was at left tackle that he was at right tackle. And by the way, on the point about Wirfs, can I get a fair ranking system for anytime we're ranking players? Can we get a fair system? Because I just saw, you see the top 100 that's going on, and Tristan Wirfs was ranked the 98th player in the NFL.
It's
the
stupid.
98th player is what the player said?
Yeah. Dumb.
Oh, my goodness. And Justin Fields is a better player than Trevor Lawrence?
Yeah. These lists in general, I pay no attention to. They just are, they're clickbait. They're just stupid. I pay no attention to it.
I know, but it's just, these are the players voting on this, man.
Yeah, I pay no attention to it. Sebastian Aho of the Carolina Hurricanes just cashed in. He gets an 8-year, $78 million extension, $9.75 million per year. That's a fat contract.
Yeah, I was more interested in the one, we didn't mention it yesterday. This has more of an effect on the Lightning. Patrice Bergeron deciding to retire.
Yeah, how about that?
I tell you what, the Atlantic got weaker. The Bruins might not make the playoffs next year. If you go look at no, I'm not kidding. You go look at their lineup. It's Marchand, Pasternak, and a bunch of meh around them because they traded Taylor Hall away. Remember that? Now you lose Bergeron. I don't know, man. I don't know.
All right, so let's play the Travis Kelce audio. So here's the thing: Travis Kelce wants to date Taylor Swift, so he thought it would be a good idea, to go to the meet and greet before she did her Kansas City tour stop, and he was gonna, he wanted to go in there and meet and greet and give her a friendship bracelet with his number on it. A friendship bracelet.
Classic, man.
Shoot your shot, brother.
Fifth grade. This is some fifth grade BS right
Oh,
here.
I love it. I love it. All right, she's gonna make a song out of this. Let's and Kelsey talked about it on his podcast. Let's play this.
To the Taylor Swift concert. How was it?
Yeah, well, I was disappointed that she doesn't talk before or after her shows because she has to save her voice for the 44 songs that she sings. So I was a little butthurt I didn't get to hand her one of the bracelets I made for her.
You made her a bracelet?
Yeah, if you're up on Taylor Swift concerts, there are friendship bracelets, and I received a bunch of them being there, but I wanted to give Taylor Swift one with my number on it. Not right now.
Your number's in 87 or your phone number?
You know which one. She doesn't meet anybody, or at least she didn't want to meet me, so I took it personal.
She probably just hasn't gotten over the Super Bowl yet. She's a big Eagles fan. Maybe she just made something up and just didn't want to talk to you.
Damn it.
Shoot your shot, big guy. I mean, who wouldn't want to date Taylor Swift? Let's be honest. Who wouldn't?
There's all these rumors. You saw like the rumor that Austin Reeves was dating her, and he was like, "I've never ever had a conversation with this girl in my life." I don't know where, but it went like wildfire. Everybody thought Austin Reeves was dating Taylor Swift.
Would you want to though? If you're Travis Kelce, is that really?
I thought Calvin. I guess not. I don't keep up with these guys' personal lives, but I thought Travis Kelce was dating somebody. I guess not.
Not anymore. Not anymore after that podcast.
I guess not. So what are we matchmaking here? We got Tom and Irina Shayk. We got Kelsey and Taylor Swift. What else are we missing here?
I don't know. When's a Buccaneer going to date somebody like stay away from the Kardashians, Tristan Wirfs or whoever is out there. Tristan's he's a man about town. Who's he dating?
Dude, Tristan Wirfs?
Yeah.
Tristan's low key when he goes out. He's low key.
Is he now?
Yeah, he hangs out with Co Keefe too, and I'm like, who's in the wing?
I've seen that. Yeah, I've seen them
Him
hanging
and
out
Co
together.
Keefe are tight.
Yeah. That's a formidable duo right there.
Baker's already snatched up. Hey, Trask is available.
Trask is out there.
He's out there. He's a bachelor. He's on the market.
He'll have plenty of time on his hands. All right, that'll do it for us today on first day of training camp. If you missed anything, go back. You can listen on our app. Download the app, FanStream Sports. You just listen to the show on that app. Nothing else. Just hit that thing, tap that app, and it'll come up anytime, anywhere. You can also listen on YouTube and watch on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify. Please subscribe there as well. And at fanstreamsports.com, our phenomenal website. Have a great day, everybody. We'll be back here tomorrow at Bucs Camp. See you then.